I would say that we need to distinguish between structural and temporary measures. This is a temporary measure which acknowledges that despite all of the wonderful economic news that my colleagues, economists, are correct to spread, the average Canadian doesn't yet feel that good news. So yes, falling interest rates, yes, low inflation, yes, rising job numbers. This is all very true, and it will become even more tangible and real in 2025 when economic growth is even more superior, and we, according to the IMF, have the fastest growing economy of all G7 countries. But as of now, when we speak to Canadians, and to Quebecers in particular, they don't feel that yet. So this is a temporary, limited measure that is going to support Canadians at a period of the year in which the pressures on pockets and family finances, those pressures are very hard and very, very strong. Now, I mentioned earlier there are structural measures that we have put into place and will keep putting into place. And these structural measures, yes, are more targeted and by definition permanent. And for instance, the Canadian Dental Care Plan is a more targeted measure with family income lower than $90,000. It's there to stay, and it's therefore defined in a manner which is a bit more adapted to a long-term measure than the short-term measure that we need to put into place for Christmas time. And never mind the Canada Child Benefit and the important investments in housing, the school food program. All of these measures come with long-term structural impacts on the economy and on personal finances. These measures are limited and very temporary.
A lot of economists have been talking about the vibecession and the fact that Canadians just aren't feeling good, and that is having real economic consequences. And the Canadian economists making that point are right, that there is a disconnect between the really positive economic news, the fact that the Canadian economy does appear set for a soft landing. That's good news. But Canadians aren't feeling it, and that is shaping their economic behavior in ways that are not great for the Canadian economy. People have been talking about a vibecession and how that is a challenge for the Canadian economy. One of the positive impacts of this measure is to help Canadians get past that vibecession, because how Canadians feel really does have a real economic impact. And I'd like to mention two numbers. After the Prime Minister's announcement on Thursday, BMO upgraded their economic forecast for the Canadian economy for the first quarter from 1.7 to 2.5. And on Friday, the Toronto Stock Exchange hit an all-time high. The Toronto Stock Exchange now has a higher market cap than the FTSE, than the Paris Bourse, or than the German DAX. So there are some good underlying economic developments, economic indicators. It's really important for Canadians to start feeling that confidence and to act on that confidence.